Welcome to another Garage Time with Goody, and today what we're going to do, we're going to try to remove some wiper damage that caused minor scrapes on our windshield. A lot of people say it can't be done, some people say it can. Well, we're going to be using a special chemical called serum oxide, and we're going to see if it works. As you can see this scratch right here was created by the windshield wiper, and there's one right below it, and it goes all the way over to the passenger side, and if you can see, it goes all the way down right there. Now here is an outside view of those scratches. You can see that up close. You can see them up close here. You can see one of the main ways you can tell if you can take the scratches out of the windshield is if you take your fingernail and you rub it down. Now you see that the scratches are not stopping my fingernail. See, here's the second scratch. As you can see, my fingernail just rubs right over the scratches, and even the one up here. Well, that is a good sign that these scratches will probably polish out with a glass polisher. And the main ingredient in that glass polisher is serum oxide. And I will leave links in the description on where to buy your very own. And we will go through this process together. You don't have to replace your whole windshield. You can fix minor blemishes and scratches. Okay, the first thing I'm going to want to do is to pull the windshield wipers up. And you're going to want to clean the windows with a regular window cleaner, a regular glass cleaner. We're going to clean it first. The reason why we're going to clean it with a regular glass cleaner first is we're going to get all the particulates, which means particles, sand, dirt. That way when we go to polish the window, it's not going to make any smeary streaks, and it's not going to grind that into the window. So it's very important that you start off with a clean, fresh surface on your windshield. So with that in mind, we're going to clean the windshield. Also remember, when you are getting towels to wipe off your window, you're going to want something that is made for glass. This is made for glass, it says. It says for glass and chrome. It's a lint-free towel that's also made not to scratch your windshield surface or your glass surface. So once we get the window clean and any sand and any small particles that may be there, and then using the right kind of towels, which I will put a link to this in the video description also, then it's going to give us a better chance for success on removing these scratches and repairing the window. Because who wants to pay hundreds of dollars for a new windshield when you can just use things like this to do it? And I'm just going to spray this all over the windshield. So what we're doing now, we're going over the windshield. We're getting good and clean. By no means do I think this is going to be easy. You're going to have to put some elbow grease in this. Getting your window clean. Another thing you'll want to do is to clean off your windshield wipers, especially the rubber part. And you don't want to get any generic, super generic windshield wipers because they could damage your windshield. So I'm going to go ahead and clean the rubber on the windshields, on the wipers, to make sure there's not any kind of gravel or sand stuck on it, or make sure it's not dry rotted. You'll just want to inspect your windshield wipers. You can see there's a lot of dirt and debris coming off of the rubber of the windshield wipers. Just want to make sure that it's free of debris and that it's got a clean surface. Before I start cleaning the windshield, I'm going to give this thing, hose it down with a fresh layer of H2O. Going to spray it down with water. Step, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some masking tape on the inside so that I can buff out the scratches on the windshield. This is an option if you want to mark off your windows with masking tape. I've marked it off on the inside. The way I've marked mine off is right here is the worst of the scratches. You can see there's one right there. There's one right there. And this is basically the path that the wipers took and made the scratches. And then here in the middle, and then over there to the right. So the next step is to get out and mix the compound. See, right here's one of the scratches. And right there's the other scratch, if you can see that kind of up close. And it follows on the inside. And I'm getting ready to use a buffer. So what I have here is cerium oxide, and I will leave a link for this in the video description. It is a legitimate glass polisher, and it will take medium to light scratches off of glass. A lot of people use it to take the scrapes and minor scratches off of windshields, which is what we're going to do today. Now, where everything differs is people will ask, how much do you use? And you're going to get a different answer. So what I'm going to be using is a 2-to-1 ratio. In the end, you're going to want your compound to have the thickness and texture of pudding. Okay? So you want to get a bowl or a container and put this cerium oxide into the bowl and mix it up until, like I said, you get a substance that's about like pudding. And then what I have here is a felt buffing pad. And you'll want an electric drill. Notice how this drill is a plug-in drill and not a battery one. Now, I do have a battery one, But the instructions say that the battery one may have varying RPMs and it may not be the best for this job. So it specifically says to use a corded electric drill, and that is what I'm going to be putting the bit in. And also, whenever I buffer, you're going to see I'm going to buffer straight up and down, then left to right, then right to left, then down and up. And a lot of people say, well, how long does that take? On the video, it's going to seem like it takes 5 minutes. But in reality, we're going to see. It probably takes a couple of hours, but we're going to see how long it takes, okay? And I'll let you guys know. This is my first time doing this. And we'll all be educated with this video. Just wish me luck, guys, and hopefully I don't F up the windshield, okay? So you're supposed to get warm water, not cold water, but just warm water. And you get warm water and you put it in a bowl, and then you mix the cerium oxide in it, which is what I'm going to do. Make sure you have access to an electric cord that will reach the drill to the windshield of your car. I'm going to go ahead and put this felt pad onto the drill. I'm going to go ahead and plug it in. If you ask me how many RPMs this is about 3,500 RPMs on this, okay? So I've got that tool ready. Now there's one more thing I have to do before we're ready for that windshield. I'm going to get some garbage bags and put it over the hood, because when the cerium oxide becomes a slurry, it's usually messy and it could get on the hood or even shoot up and go to the top of the car. I'm going to put garbage bags up here and just tape it down with masking tape. And then I'm going to mix the cerium oxide with the water, and then I'll be ready to start. Now first I'm going to do the right side over here. There are a lot of products out there that use cerium oxide in their ingredients. There's a lot of like third-party products. As long as it has this ingredient, it should work okay. Or you can buy cerium oxide just straight out. So remember a 2-to-1 mix ratio, and in the end, you want it to have a pudding-like consistency. And this water is warm. And one thing I almost forgot to tell you, when you're up there buffing, you will want to have a spray bottle with just regular water, which is what I have here, and just spray like this to keep this from drying up. I'm going to mix this now. I'm just using a screwdriver. You can use whatever you want. You can use a spoon or just whatever you have. And see, it's kind of like pudding. So that means it's ready for me to dip into this, onto the felt pad. Or another tip that you guys might get a kick out of is when I'm mixing the cerium oxide, I just push the trigger of the drill. And as you can see, that mixes it up quite well. Saves a lot of time. Some tips that I've heard that you may want to do: you can go left to right, up to down, and just keep going in a pattern. You'll want to fill the glass. Make sure that it doesn't overheat. Someone said 160 degrees Fahrenheit, but basically don't stay in one spot too long. Just fill it with your hand and see if it's too hot. If it's hot to touch, then you'll want to move on to another part of the glass, because if it gets too hot, the glass could crack, and that would defeat the whole purpose in doing this. So with that in mind, let's get to it. And if you want to check the progress, you can just wipe it off and kind of check. How hard do you push down on the windshield? Well, I'm pushing down about 5 pounds of force, and that's good enough for me. I couldn't imagine pushing any harder. So as a rule of practice, make sure the window doesn't get too hot. Push down about 5 pounds of force, go into a circular motion, and go up and down and left to right and right to left again and down to up. So as long as you follow those simple instructions and just keep repeating these steps until it's done, and you should have a pretty good looking windshield afterwards. Now, it's been an hour and a half, and I'd say I'm about 85% done. So this does take a lot of time. So when I go like that, it's not 5 minutes. I mean, we're working, like I said, it's been an hour and a half. So I say when I'm done, it'll probably be around 2 hours or 2 hours and a half. We'll see. Two and a half hours later, it's done. All I have to do now is clean the cerium oxide off of the windshield, and I'm going to go over it with a windshield cleaner, regular glass cleaner once again, and it should be done. So for those people who think that this is going to be done in 5 or 10 minutes, no, you need to be in it for the long haul. Make sure you have a couple of hours, depending on how bad the scratches are, set aside, and this will work. But like I said, it's not perfect. It's at least 90% better, if not more. But this does work. You do get results. And I'm going to show you the end results here in a second, as soon as I get everything cleaned up. It's time to take the masking tape from inside the windshield. Now it's time to take garbage bags off. This is the windshield after the cerium oxide, and it looks 90% better, if not more. Let's look at it from the inside. Now this is from the inside, and you can see where those scratches were. They're not there anymore. If you look really hard, you can see the faintest of scratch in the upper left, and that was the worst scratch that there was. But you can't hardly tell it. There are no swirls. Everything looks good. I also tried this at night. So, it definitely works. Not perfect, but 90%. And I'll include everything that you need to get this done in the video description box. Thank you for tuning in to another Garage Time with Goody. Until next time, another one bites the rust.